particular ayah, it's not that only once it was in history and that was it. No. You cannot make it disappear from history. Every ayah like that. So this is how the Quran was preserved in memory and as well as written form. So when the Quran was composed like that, we're talking about the composition. People to imitate it, they have to put in that structure, and they're failing that today. So this is what we're saying. It's a living miracle of the Quran, a living evidence that the Quran is indeed divine. Why? Because to this day, people cannot imitate it. They've imitated Shakespeare. If you have phone now, you can ask ChatGPT, can you imitate that sonnet of Shakespeare? You will do it. Few seconds. Why? Because human speech is imitable. Human composition is imitable. You can imitate the style. And that's why many forgeries happen throughout time. Later on, with a very fine tooth and eye, people said, that's a forgery, even though many things went unnoticed like that. So they were so clever in imitating something. But at the end of the day, still, the point I'm making is human composition. Whether it's music, whether it's poetry, it's imitable. Quran stands clear from all of that literature and says you cannot imitate it. That's number one evidence for the Quran. Secondly, out of many falsification tests and evidence, Quran says, had this book been from other than God, surely you'd find many discrepancies and errors. And that makes sense. A book that talks about history, that talks about what's going to happen in the future, that talks about natural world, today we can say, I'm sure you can get something wrong, because people are back in those days, they knew not much about the reality. We, today with our current science and technology, we have learned about our world much better than what they thought earlier. They thought human beings were created with menstrual blood, which is in the Bible. In the Bible. Quran didn't copy any of those things, because the Quran doesn't copy anything, because it's from God.
Well, so can you explain why there's similarities in narrative? Obviously, I'm not saying that it's not 100% similar.
I will explain to remind me about this, inshallah, why there's similarities. But the point I'm making is, the Quran could get so many things wrong, as you expect, logically speaking. A book 1400 years ago, how would the book know about what we have discovered about the universe today? That we know now the stars are receding from each other. The universe is expanding.
The ancient Egyptians knew all about that as well.
The ancient universe didn't know everything.
They knew about the sun, they knew about...
Did the ancient universe know that there is a common origin of the universe and the universe expanding? Because the ancient...
No. That was founded by a Christian.
Sorry?
The Big Bang Theory, that was founded by a Christian.
Which Christian?
The priest. The French. Yeah, the French priest.
Which French?
Initials, the initials.
Yeah, the first person.
This is after the invention of science. So.
You talk about the Big Bang.
You're talking about long after the Quran.
Yeah.
When the Quran talks about أَوَلَمْ يَرَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَنَّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ كَانَتَا رَتْقًا فَفَتَقْنَاهُمَا وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ أَفَلَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. Do not the unbelievers see that the heavens and the earth was joined together as one piece, and God parted it asunder, and He brought every living thing from water? Would they then not believe? Quran is telling you that there was a common origin of our earth and our universe, and then there was a separation, asunder, ratak and fatak. It's like Big Bang, as they say. I'm not saying this Quran is talking about the Big Bang, but the Quran is clearly telling you about the common origin of the universe and our earth, and the separation afterwards. So information like this, you expect the Quran to get it wrong. Why? Because this requires a lot of scientific advanced tools to know this. Can you see the universe expanding? Look up. You can't. You can't see the universe expanding. You can't see the stars going away from each other. A lot of science and theory of science, models of science is required. So when the Quran talks about that mountains have a specific feature, today you might think, yeah, of course, but back then, it's impossible. Okay, describe me a mountain.
A mountain is a landscape, a type of landscape.
Yeah.
Where
Not how it's formed, but this description of its external feature.
So it's upward lifting.
Upward lifting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Correct, but partially correct. Why I say that? Because this is just the surface of the mountain that you see. Most of the mountain has downward elevation, what we call the roots of the mountains. Most of it is downward. Have you heard of tip of the iceberg?
Yes.
What we see above the sea of the ocean
It's nothing.
is just a little bit of tip and the rest is downward. Quran describes mountains like that. It's like autad, mountain having roots. Who would have known mountains have roots like this? Can you go into a mountain near Himalayas and say, mountain, it has more roots than that? You can't start digging and finding out. Impossible. Through our technology today that we know mountains do indeed, because it's not just digging and digging and digging that you know mountains have roots. Other technologies, sonars, they reflect back how far, the level is and so on and so forth. So information like this, you expect the Quran to get it wrong, not to give information which we discovered today. So the Quran, when it says, if it wasn't from God, you expect surely to find many errors and discrepancies like that. So this is another falsification test Quran offers to falsify it. Because if a sincere researcher goes and finds an error in the Quran, they are in the right mind to reject the Quran. Because according to the standards of the Quran, very criteria of the Quran, it cannot be from God. So Islam is that religion which your heart and your mind already agrees with. So ask yourself, why are you not a Muslim right now? What is stopping you from accepting Islam? Is it because you want to learn Islam to the level where I want to know all the commentaries, what it says? No one can become so proficient and so knowledgeable on everything about the Quran. Even the scholars learn every day. Even the scholars. So you want to know everything the Prophet said. Hundreds and thousands of hadiths. You can stay and read all your life and you think there's so much a treasure. It's like you're dropping the ocean when you start. What is it? If you think this is the case, you'll never even finish the ocean of knowledge of Islam. But if you know that what it requires for you to Muslim is to be convinced that there is no God worthy of worship except one and only true God. If you're already on your heart, that's first part. If you agree that Prophet Muhammad is indeed a messenger of God, that's all requires two things. Accepting that he's a messenger of God, accepting God is the only one worthy of worship. That is the beginning of your journey to make you into fold of Islam, and then you take the journey of learning. Every day we learn. I'm trying to learn Arabic language, still learning. It's vast ocean. You see? So learning never stops. When you become a Muslim, have you stopped learning, brother? Right. So it's not that you have to learn everything, no, but there are certain essential things you need to understand. So we believe in what we call 5 pillars of Islam, right? So all of these are the articles of faith, the pillars of Islam. If you accept and believe in them, you are a Muslim. So all it's required from you is to make that declaration that yes, I do testify. Are you ready? Bismillah. First, I will tell you in English, as I mentioned again. Basically, you will say, I bear witness and testify. English first, so that you know what I'm saying in Arabic. I bear witness and testify.
I bear witness and testify.
That there is no God worthy of worship.
That there is no God worthy of worship.
Except Allah,
Except Allah,
the one and only.
the one and only.
Without any partners.
Without any partners.
And I bear witness and testify
And I bear witness and testify
that Muhammad
that Muhammad
is Allah's servant and his messenger.
is Allah's servant and his messenger.
Ashhadu
Ashhadu
an
an
la
la
ilaha
ilaha
illallah
illallah
wa ashhadu
وشهد
وأشهد
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 أن
أن
محمدا
محمدا
عبده
عبده
ورسوله.
ورسوله.
Allahu Akbar. Welcome to Islam, my brother. Welcome to Islam. Welcome to Islam.